AI today.
Okay.
But like, there have been a lot of changes with artificial intelligence lately.
Yeah.
Like, what is your general, how should I say, stance? Are you optimistic, pessimistic, looking forward to more AI, cautiously optimistic?
Yeah, well, basically, I think I'm cautiously optimistic, and because I think this technology has a lot of potential. I think it's going to be very useful. So indeed, my talk today is going to talk about how these tools can enhance creative work. But on the other hand, we have to be careful, especially regarding the regulatory point of view, because, well, this is a very powerful tool, and in the wrong hands, it can be very bad. So, yeah, I'm optimistic, but also I think we have to understand this as a very powerful thing, and we have to be very responsible when we work with this kind of technologies.
Okay, well then already have like some people there, so we can begin. Hello again,
Great.
and introduce yourself, please, and tell us who you are and what you're going to be talking about today.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Ivan, for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here today. And well, as you know, today we're going to talk about AI and creativity. That for me, it's a great formula for the metaverse, and I'm going to explain today why. But first, well, I'm Jimena Tormo, and I'm an XR creative. It means I've been working for 6 years with immersive technologies, XR, well, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality. I'm also a podcaster, speaker, and lecturer in the Barcelona School of Creativity and in the Valley Business School, both schools here in Spain. And well, my talks usually talk about XR technologies, metaverse, Web3, and most recently also AI, basically because I'm starting to introduce these kind of technologies in my work and in my workflow. And today I'm going to talk about from my experience and my research. So without further ado, let's start. First of all, we'll explain the structure of the presentation so you can have a better idea. First, we're gonna start with the context. Where are we exactly in terms of technological advances? We're gonna talk about the metaverse a bit, and also how all this is connected with creativity and AI. Then I'm going to move to our main concerns, and there I'll explain basically what's the connection between AI and creativity. And finally, we're going to talk about what's next, about the future, and what about the metaverse and how these technologies can be used in the creation of this new iteration of the internet. So let's start. I'll start by saying that for the first time in history, ideas that we consider inherent to the realm of imagination are beginning to cast doubt, especially on our notion of what is possible and what it's not. And I guess that maybe the concept that better reflects this is the metaverse. In the last few years, we've seen how the metaverse, a concept that comes from science fiction, is a plausible reality in the medium term. And in my opinion, and after analyzing the context, what I think is that this is thanks to exponential advances and digital convergence. And this is the actual technological landscape. Here in the graphic, you can see 5 main categories or big technologies. We have XR technologies, we have hardware, the industry 4.0, AI, and blockchain. And I think all these different areas are converging and are also growing at an exponential pace. This interconnection is what is making possible concepts like the metaverse. For example, AI, it's one of the most interesting areas, especially for creatives right now, and for people that's also in the tech industry. And for me, what's nice about it is the fact that with synthetic media, the most human or artistic point of view is converging with the techie point of view, and we are generating very interesting things. So on the other hand, and we are still talking about context, AI has been around for decades. But what is happening today, it's something very interesting, and it's the fact that for the first time, its use has spread to the masses. People are finally understanding how to use these technologies. Nowadays, more and more people understand them, and also knows how to take advantage of these technologies. And proof of that are the countless use cases that emerge every week. We have, for example, NVIDIA Nerve, a tool, an AI tool for creating 3D models with a few images. This is revolutionizing the world of architecture, environment, design, and also video games. There are a lot of areas that has been affected or influenced by these technologies. Then we have other tools like Deep Nostalgia, for example, that allows you to animate a character or a picture, a portrait of your ancestors. That it was created initially for that, for animating portraits of dead people, but this has evolved, and now everybody is animating all kinds of portraits and characters. We also have DALL-E, which is a diffusion model. That's also it's one of the first one, and it's been used in the creative industry a lot. We have tools like Kyber AI that allows you to create a short video from a single picture. In this example, what I did was generate an image of a poppy field using Playground AI. And I asked Kyber to generate a short scene of a girl running through this field. And that was the result. And the result is very, it's amazing. It's very good. We also have other models like Stable Diffusion or Midjourney that are evolving very fast, and where you can generate different versions of the same assets, for example, or generate almost any kind of generative art based on existing styles. And finally, and this is maybe one of the most interesting tools of the last few weeks, we have Microsoft Copilot, which is the integration of AI into the Office suite. Here in the example, you see how a creator basically designs a PowerPoint presentation using a Word document as a prompt, and only that. This is very powerful. Indeed, I wanted to use this tool for creating the presentation, but I couldn't, basically because of the high demand of this new version of Office. But I'd love to try it in the future because I think it is very promising. So once we've analyzed like this big picture, I would like to summarize a bit what machines can do. And it's basically three things. First, today machines can process and understand media. They can learn from the past, and they can build from what they've learned. And this is very, very interesting. Thanks to deep learning, for the first time, we're starting to see how machines are able to create from scratch when they have been trained with a lot of inputs and a lot of assets. And these capacities that I am highlighting are key for the development of new content, software optimization, and the improvement of hardware performance. These three layers are play an essential role in the next iteration of the internet and are basically the fabric of the metaverse. So that's where I see the connection, and that's where I think AI is going to be key in improving and also optimizing the way we generate content, we create hardware, and well, or basically the hardware performance, and also the way we create new software and tools. In the same way, and still we're talking about context, we have the open metaverse philosophy that fosters a new digital society, more egalitarian and creative, where users will regain control of their virtual identity. Collaboration and co-creation will be the ways to generate value. And finally, users will enjoy true ownership thanks to technologies like NFTs and blockchain. In this new ecosystem, the creator is the center, is the one that will be able to generate not only new content, but also to define the new rules of this space. And that's why tools like AI are going to be very, very useful. So this technological context leads me to the following questions. First, what are the roles of machines and humans in the creation of the metaverse? Second, can AI replace human creativity, or it is rather an effective collaborator in creative processes? And finally, how can the synergy between AI and creative thinking pave the way for the creation of innovative spaces, experiences, and identities in the metaverse? So let's move to the second part of the presentation, our main concerns. And I'll start by explaining the role of AI in creativity. Now that you're aware of this overview, let's start with explaining a bit the AI ecosystem. In the last year, we've witnessed the exponential development of AI solutions. Almost every day, a new generative AI model emerges. We also see new interfaces and apps. And in this picture, you're only seeing what happened in 2022. Who knows how this graphic would look like in 1 year or two? What happens here is, yeah, there is a lot of progress. We're seeing this exponential growth, but to be honest, this can be very overwhelming for most people, especially for the ones that work in the creative or tech field. At the same time, this offers great opportunities for professionals to master new tools, to master new languages, but you have to have the intention of learning these new tools and languages in order to be a better creator. And for me, a good symptom or a new phenomena that's emerging, and for me it's very interesting, is the role of prompt engineer. And this role is thriving because of two main reasons. To give you a bit of context, prompt engineer, it's the new role in some companies or departments. That's the person who is able to write the best prompts in order to get a more optimized and accurate result when interacting with this kind of AI tools. So what I've detected is that there are two reasons why this new role is thriving. And then the first one is that some models like Midjourney, for example, have developed their own syntax or prompt language. It means that if you know that syntax, if you're able to prompt or craft your prompts using this new syntax or language, you're going to be in more control of the final results. So creatives who learn this are able to get a better and more accurate result according to their first vision or idea. And here in the example, you can see the picture of 4 roses that were created basically using a prompt that follows the specific structure of Midjourney prompts. You can see a few symbols and a few elements that limit the element that the artist want the machine to create or to generate in the final result. And the second reason is that why this role is thriving is that we've realized that creators with professional backgrounds are more in control of AI results, since they use their knowledge and their background to craft their prompts. And if they're, for example, photographers, they will be able to specify, for example, camera settings or lighting settings that will specify what they need from the machine to generate. Here we have another example of a prompt created using Midjourney, in this case, by someone that knows or at least have a general knowledge connected to photography. And we see how the creator specifies, for example, the type of lens that the AI should use to generate this picture, 50 millimeters portrait, it says. And also specifies the kind of lining, a hard rim lining. And this is something that only a person who knows about this technique will be able to ask for. So in this case, and in my opinion, artists take back control over their pieces. And we usually hear that machines are going to steal our jobs, but I guess that the more we know about these new languages and the more we know how to control these results, and the more we also understand that our background it's key in the creation of these new media results, the more in control we are of the situation, and we are going to be able to actually have a better role in what the final result is. And also, for me, the notion of art connected to the context and the artist's intentions remain almost intact. And this is very, very nice, especially for people that's worried about how AI tools could steal their jobs in the future, right? So also, AI tools offer a series of benefits for creators, and I summarize them in four main categories. First, it's time saving, and it gives us a chance to focus on their really important things. It's excellent for performing repetitive and boring tasks, for example, copywriting posts for our social media, or for example, structuring a presentation or creating variations of the same 3D asset for an environment or a 3D project, right? It also contributes to accessibility and process optimization because, for example, no code and also drag and drop tools don't require from the creator to know coding or know how to program things. You just use natural language to give instructions and to create using these new tools. It's also a great source of inspiration and reference. These tools produce euphoria and excitement the first time you try them. They're great because people find a new world of possibilities when they tried it for the first time. But I have to be honest here, and I think this is something we all know. AI doesn't create things from scratch. It combines existing styles and content. Because innovation, it's still part of the human realm. And I want to highlight this because I think it's very important we understand that part of the story. AI, it's an excellent tool for the early stage of a project. For example, for creating mood boards, mockups, storyboards, sketches, drafts. But we have to understand that the output from generative AI, it's not the end of the process. It should be only the beginning, or at least a very complementary part of the project. I would like to quote Marques Brownlee, who's a YouTuber, and it's one of the most interesting content creators in YouTube. He creates tech content, and what he says is that he uses AI to brainstorm, for example, especially in the early stage of his production process, when he has to create a video, when he's writing a script, when he needs to a list of different topics, when he needs a review of a product, but still he has to edit these results that the AI generates. He uses ChatGPT a lot. So yeah, we have to understand it as it is. It's a tool that's a complement to our process. Also, AI enables us to play new roles. And this is one of the most exciting parts for me, because it gives me the possibility to generate new assets, maybe using techniques that I don't know or at least I didn't have a background to generate them. For example, 3D assets. So you can extend the range of your natural abilities and your knowledge and play different roles, at least in, as I said, in the early stage of the process. If you want to create, for example, you're a writer and you want to create a children's book, and you're a very good writer. You have the story, you've completed your book, but you don't know how to illustrate. Still, you want to sell the idea, you want to pitch it. Well, what you can do maybe is to go to an AI tool and generate all the illustrations using this interface to sell your project, to pitch your project. And then in the future, if someone wants to produce it or print it, then you can hire a professional to do the final pieces, to do the final illustrations. So as I said, it's a way to boost ideas, to also get where you couldn't get in the past because you didn't have the knowledge to get there. So you can generate almost any type of media, from text, image, video to audio, code, 3D assets. And this is very, very exciting, especially for someone that doesn't have a degree in any of those areas or just knows about a few of them. And now I'd like to highlight another thing that I think is very important, and this is a benefit from AI, but it also has a very important human component, and it's the art of combination. As I said before, there are plenty of techniques, there are different tools to generate different kinds of assets. And the most interesting part here is if you master the different techniques, you can also combine results to generate new products. And here the human factor, as I said, is key in the process. In this example that you see on screen, what I did was basically I created an image, a portrait of this character using Playground AI. It's a tool that works with Stable Diffusion. Once I got my portrait, I went to DID, which is another tool for animating images, and I give it 3 inputs. I give the picture. I also wrote a text with the speech of my character and selected a voice. The interface has different voices you can select to apply it to your final piece. And the final result was this character talking, speaking, and all the speech was the speech I crafted before, right? It was based on my text. And the character was able to move its lips and in an accurate way. You have it was very realistic. The result was very good. So here you can see a very simple example in how you can combine more than one tool to generate a final piece. And this was just a character, but you can generate a more complex piece, maybe combining different characters, maybe integrating them into other environments also created using 3D AI tools, for example. So to summarize, AI will not steal your job. A professional who knows how to use it will. So yeah, you should know about it, especially if you want to be a person that's connected with the creative world, but also if you want to improve your performance, if you want to get better results, if you want to be involved in this kind of projects. So we've talked about AI tools and the way they enhance human creativity, but what's the impact of all this in the metaverse? What's the connection between artificial intelligence and the metaverse? And now we'll start with the last part of the presentation, what is next? So we're going to talk about the future. And for doing that, I'll start by quoting a friend of mine. He's Jose Valenzuela, a neuroscientist and AI researcher. And as I told you before, I have a podcast, so I do a lot of interviews. And well, I asked him in which way he considered that the AI will affect the process of creation of the metaverse. And he answers this. He says, AI will help us think, build, and populate the metaverse. And it was very interesting for me because I think, especially the last part, for me was a surprise. I didn't consider the part of the population, and now I'm going to explain this for you. So let me unpack this so you can understand better what Jose is talking about. So first, let's start with the three different categories. Well, first is ideation, is the initial part of the process of any creative process, including the process of experiences or the creation of experiences for the metaverse. Then we have the production process, and finally the population, which is our populating process. So let's start with ideation. And well, the metaverse, as you know, is based on human experiences and spaces, 3D spaces. So these experiences and spaces have to be thought, have to be designed. And who do that? Who does that? Basically creatives or artists. So it means skills such as storytelling, game design, and also visual design are key for the development of this kind of content. So in my opinion, processes like brainstorming, copy and script writing, character design, mechanics definition, storyboarding, mood boarding, all of them will be revolutionized by natural language processing and generative AI. For those of you who don't know what it's NLP, natural language processing, it's basically the technology that's behind ChatGPT, for example, is when machines are able to understand the natural language of humans, the context, etc. And generative AI tools, which are the ones that we use to generate media content using AI. So I would love to show you a few examples. Here we have a storyboard that was created using Midjourney. This is a very simple example. Okay, it was for a short film, but imagine what we could do if we have a bigger project. It's something that Midjourney has is the fact that you can create scenes that have a continuation and continuity. Sorry, so this is great not only for mood boarding but also for storyboarding. And this is another example created also using Midjourney. You can indicate a character. You can use this character to generate several images. You can have a sequence. And that's something very revolutionary for the film industry and also for any other storytelling project. Also, we have the possibility to create spaces, or at least, as I said before, early stages of these new spaces or 3D spaces. Thanks to a tool called Blockade Labs, I could create this 360 image of a futuristic city. And it took me like 5 seconds to write a very simple prompt and to obtain this equirectangular image that you can see in the corner of the animation. And that's the result. You obtain an equirectangular picture, but then if you drop it on a 360 video player, you can see it in 3D. And this is a technique that it's basically used for video games and films to create the sky. It's what it's called skybox, is the background, the elements that are very far from the character, the elements that are part of the sky. And this, as I said, can be created for a final piece like a video game or a film. But it can also be a mood board or a mock-up of a piece that we want to create, a 3D space that we want to generate. Also, we have now the production part of the process. So once we have defined our experience in the ideation stage, we need to focus on the world design process, in which we have to create the different assets, and also we have to code a lot. We have to generate all the mechanics and characters, spaces. So AI will influence the following production processes, in my opinion: environment design, game mechanics programming, character production and animation, user interface design, media content creation, and of course, the integration of all these elements inside a single experience. So we are starting to see how apps like Cinema 4D or Blender are already integrating these AI tools. In this case, the AI render option, where you can create a very simple scene using very basic shapes. And by introducing a prompt, you can generate a more detailed image, a final render, using a specific style, using a specific look. And this is very, very interesting also because it optimizes the time of rendering. Rendering process can be very, very long. It can take hours. And in this case, it's very fast. You can get a very good quality render only by adding a few adding a prompt and clicking an AI render button. As I said, this is a AI that can optimize a lot of complex processes, and this is one of the best examples. Also, we have another example, which is a creator. This is, oh, sorry. Okay, this is Roblox creator. And as you know, Roblox is one of the most famous virtual platforms of the metaverse. And recently, Roblox integrated AI solutions inside their creator. So by writing a few prompts, you're able to modify textures, to add elements to the scene. Also, you can animate elements. For example, in a second part of this video, the creator is able to animate the car and make it float or fly over a city. So it's a very interesting thing because you don't need any code. The only thing you enter are text prompts. So you get from visual effects to texture changes to lining. So, well, I think more and more virtual platform creators will integrate these kind of technologies in their interfaces. And now we have another good example, which is Opus AI. It's an interface for creating video games using text prompts. This is still in beta version, but for me, it's very promising since it has a lot of options for customization. As you can see in the example, the creator starts by filling the space from zero. He starts with the soil, then he adds vegetation, and finally the snow. And if you see the whole video, you'll see how this place starts to evolve, and then it becomes a city because it shows you like all the possibilities you have if you use this tool. And now we're going to move to the final part of the metaverse and AI topic. And actually, we have to be honest here. Actually, virtual platforms like Spatial, the Sandbox, the Central and Somnium Space, or Upland are practically empty. Okay, and this is a big problem. We have to face it. Except for when they hold special events, launches, brand activations, okay? But the truth is, the certain metaverse is less appealing to people. So what if we could fill these worlds with NPCs powered by AI? And for me, this is a nice idea. I think it has a lot of potential, basically because these bots could perform tasks like give technical support, but they also could play games, have a conversation with you, give recommendations, also teaching people. Do you remember the movie Free Guy? Well, it's basically that. And for me, yeah, it has, well, we can discuss if this is ethically right in some terms, but initially, it sounds like a very good idea, especially when we need to show the potential and the benefits of this kind of platforms. If we try to compare this with a real world or physical world experience, if you see a restaurant or a restaurant that's empty, that doesn't have clients, the possibilities you don't enter are very high, right? Because you can say, well, maybe they don't have good food, or maybe the attention is not good. So in my opinion, the same happens with this kind of platforms. When you see that they're empty, that they don't have anything to offer, that you don't have the possibility to interact, the possibilities that you don't stay there are very high. So imagine you can interact with someone, and it doesn't matter if it's an AI, if the experience is good, if the experience gives you something in return, right? So, okay, but what if we can populate this platform with AI NPCs? Well, this is something that a company known as InWorld is trying to do. And this is a demo of a game. The name is Origins. It's a very simple demo. It's a detective's game where you as a detective have to solve a mystery. And the way to solve the mystery is by asking different characters that were witness of the crime, what they saw, and where they were. So it's very nice because every character has a backstory. They were created using, well, in this case, I'm not sure what was exactly the technology. Maybe it was natural language processing, a tool probably similar to ChatGPT or even ChatGPT. But the nice thing here is the fact that each character responds to a personality and a backstory. So they'll answer according to that personality and backstory. So the experience is very realistic. And also the second thing is that you can interact with them using your voice. You don't need to write in a text chat. And that's also a plus. The fact that you're indeed having a real conversation with a character. Okay, it improves the realism of the experience. So finally, I like to summarize my presentation by sharing a few takeaways. First, as I said at the beginning, AI is a powerful tool, but to be honest, it lacks the ability for imagination and creativity, the ability for innovation. It remains in the realm of human capacity, okay, at least for now. So those the innovation it's still human, and this is something we should be very proud about, and also I don't know, we shouldn't be scared of AI tools in this matter. Number two, AI will lead to the emergence of new jobs, transformation of existing ones, and the disappearance of repetitive and mechanical tasks. As we said before, now we're starting to see how prompt engineer, it's a new career, right? Who knows how many more will merge in the future years. But also the nice part is that we're going to get rid of very boring and repetitive tasks. So we'll have the opportunity to focus on what really matters, the really important part of the project. And for me, that's a big benefit. Number three, it's essential to understand and master AI to leverage its potential for our own benefits. There is no going back. We need to understand that AI has to be understood, and the faster we understood it and the faster we know how to use it, the better we're going to perform and the better results we're going to have. And finally, the combination of AI with human creativity and judgment will be essential for thinking, producing, and populating the metaverse. And I think I gave you a few examples that are a reason to believe that, or at least is what I think. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You know, like it was like very interesting, and there's a lot to think about how AI is continuing to transform our lives. And I think many people don't realize just how long we actually been using AI. It's just the revolution which has been going on in the last 2 years was very rapid. You know, I just
Right.
had a question, like with prompt and engineering. You said like talking about like new careers appearing. Is prompt engineering a new job as you describe it, or is it more of a new soft skill which will kind of like, not that your job is to be like the manager of prompt engineering in the company, but rather it's something what the employers will certainly look for on the CV, that you're like a prompt, well, you know some prompt engineering, and there will also like sprout entire new ways of certification to prove that you can prompt engineers, like, you know, job tests to engineer prompts to obtain certain result. uh,
Okay, well, I see it right now, I see it as a role, but I guess it's going to evolve into a skill, basically because more and more people will understand how to craft prompts, and will understand how to use these new syntaxes and languages, right? Right now, it's something more specific, basically because there are just a few people that are focusing on this kind of tasks, right? For what I've heard, a few companies are starting to introduce these as a part of the process, or training of their employees. So yeah, I think right now it's our role, if you consider that just a few people are doing this as part of different teams in different companies. But with time, I guess it's going to be one more skill, like when you use Word or PowerPoint to create a presentation or a document. I think it would be equivalent.
sure, thank you. We also had like a question, how like will AI change how like book publishers develop their work in the future, in your opinion?
Okay, well, as I said, maybe and that part, the example I gave, the person that writes a children's book and doesn't know how to illustrate, will find there a possibility to complete their project in order to sell it, right? And for example, in the writing part of the process, I think it can be very helpful. I've used ChatGPT, for example, to ask it for a recommendation of structures for a specific presentation or document once I finished it. So I think that these tools are going to have an important influence in the way we work. They're going to help us optimize and accelerate the way we produce new content, because they're like a collaborator. If you have any doubt on a specific structure, if you want to know if you're following a good order of ideas, for example, in a presentation, you can ask these kind of tools. As I said, with very repetitive and more boring processes like structuring a speech or a presentation, these tools can be very good, and can give you a very good feedback that you can use to improve your human work, right?
Arthur is saying, he was actually our first speaker today and also talk a bit, about AI, is saying that prompt engineering isn't something you learn one time. With every new product update, you need to update yourself on what is different.
Excuse me, I didn't understand the last part.
Well, with every new product which updates, so
Yes.
you
Yes.
need to update your knowledge, basically, well, your
Yeah.
skill of writing better prompts, because each AI is, example with Midjourney, I think is a good one. Midjourney 3 and 5, 4 and 5 had different ways of prompting. The 5, I think, I haven't tried it yet, but it's more like textual, more chat based, while the fourth one was more mechanical.
Yeah, I think he's right. Basically, yeah, with every new tool, we have to adapt ourselves to the new elements. This is something we've been doing for a long time. For example, if you use the Adobe Suite, with every new upgrade, we have new tools, we have new things to learn. For me, it's the same here. These new tools will offer new options, will offer new interfaces, and we have to upgrade ourselves to also learn how to take advantage of them.
Yeah. AJ is asking, do you think AI will be delivering more of repetitive work than really creating new work for similar prompts?
Yes, totally. I think, yeah, basically, that's what they can do. That's that's the part in which they can help us the most.
Yeah, that's kind of one of my fears, I want to say, because well, when those technologies come out, like they can do amazing things, but when they're taken to market, they're kind of abused, and not like in any malicious way, but it just becomes so overpopulated by the same stuff, and it all becomes homogenous, and I just, well, it becomes boring for one thing, but it also makes everything less effective because it ruins the general reputation of this thing, you know? So like,
yeah, I agree, but I think that's why that's where the human ability comes in, right? The innovation, it's something that we as humans are able to do, and this is where the machines doesn't have the tools for innovating. So I guess, yeah, and also there's a big risk. There's people that will stop doing their job basically because they feel the AI can solve everything. But unfortunately, these tools also make mistakes, and those mistakes can be very important. They can have really big consequences. So I think the key is collaboration. I think the human factor is always important here, especially if we want to create new things, if we want to innovate, truly innovate. It is important that we are involved in the process always.
well, yeah. So do you have any more questions? Yeah, like a lot of like dependence on AI it's like, again, like if you know how to use it, it can be like really great, and like even like from artistic, creative, or like from even like solving mundane tasks. But just over reliance on it by, as AJ puts it, lazy people, like it can just ruin it, I think, for many people. And I personally think that we're kind of in a bit of a wild west with AI right now, and like what's happening, and like even with like creation of this like conference, like a lot of it was like to find actual practical use cases, and while AIs solve solutions, but me as a marketer, other than like making my workflow easier, I don't really see that many practical solutions as of right now. I see potential for them in the future, but as of right now, I can't really say that like AI is like a make it or break it of my work at the moment. I want to preface it.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on the area, right? On the field, and also, as I said before, it depends also if you need to create a specific asset, or you need to create a specific project. You also have the ability to combine different tools. So for me, that's also important. And in my workflow, this has been very, very important. It has changed the way I work. especially because it has given me the possibility to also explore other formats, because of what I said. I'm not a 3D artist, but I can start creating 3D renders for a project that I'm thinking about, and then give this mock-up to an actual 3D artist to create a final piece. So for me, it's been a very amazing discovery. It has opened a lot of possibilities. Also, as I said, I'm a creative, so for me, it's been a tool to actually reflect what I'm thinking and actually put in images or models or audio or video, anything I have in mind. And also, if I'm able to control the prompts and the way to generate or craft these prompts, I'm more in control of the situation, and that's, for me, that's been amazing. So I think it depends on the area, right?
Yeah. We also have one more question coming. It's more about like how AI can transform jobs. And it's asking if AI can like replace recruiters and headhunters and employing, I guess, people. What do you think?
Yeah, well, still, I think it's a good collaborator if you want to, for example, analyze CVs and you're looking for specific skills that are listed in a CV, but I think you still need the human factor here, because, well, when we are when we are talking about recruiting, the human connection is key. So maybe in the early stage of the process, the use of AI can be helpful. But I guess I think that the combination of these techniques with an interview with a human connection, it's very important. I don't think this kind of processes could be 100% delegated to machines.
Do you think we can trust the people who make the AIs? Let me like explain a bit. Like, I mean, I'm saying like, can it like AI makes mistakes, and you're saying about like the human connection and even like replacing like at the beginning of like looking for CVs, for example. But AIs are trained on the data sets provided by people, the information provided by people. And obviously, like this is really an ethical debate in some ways, because right now we don't really have that many big AIs. We have like many small ones, but I'm sure as the technology will increase, there will be more and more AIs created by independent people. And now I heard the statistics that new AI data sets can be trained within a day on like powerful enough computers. So it's becoming easier and easier to create, and people are all different, and they can create data sets. They can create AIs on the data sets with a wide variety of inputs. Like wasn't there like an experiment a couple of years ago where they trained an AI on Twitter, and the AI became incredibly racist and homophobic and like swearing all the time. And that's what I'm saying. In the future, can we really trust the AIs? Because right now we kind of take everything the AIs does at face value. Like only like people who really know the question they're asking will like be able to spot, oh, okay, so this is where like say like it's an incredibly scientific question. Here the AI made mistake. But not everybody is an expert in everything. And that's why I'm asking, like, can we really put our faith in the AI, or should there be like some AI fact checking of what it's actually doing? Because like, is it open? Is the data sets for the AIs should be open?
Yeah, well, this is a very hard debate, but basically I'm in favor of regulations. I think this is very, as I said, it's a very powerful tool, and in the wrong hands, it can be very harmful. So, for example, this week, the European Union I don't know, published a document. I don't remember exactly what was the document, but what it says was that the European Union is considering the need of creating regulation regarding AI. So I guess this is something we should start analyzing and talking about, because as you said, you can generate racist content, you can generate content that put people in danger, depending on the hands of who are developing the technology. So that's what I think it's needed. We need regulations if we want to control this, especially in the future. Right now we have ChatGPT, which is very complex. The results are text only almost all the time, but still we have very powerful results, and it's been trained with almost with a lot of information from the internet. So it's a very robust AI. Even so, as you said, it hasn't get to the point in which it is super powerful. So I think we should start talking about how we can regulate and how we can control at least the way we train these kind of models.
Sure. Well, Jimena, we've actually running right about an hour. I want to thank you, and I also want to thank everyone who's been on our webinars, I guess, today. They went incredibly well. Each one of the speakers, Arthur, Yaroslav, you, have delivered amazing presentations, and in real time, I'm getting feedback that people love it, what you're saying. So it's really great, and I'm very thankful to you for coming and talking to us about AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ivan, for the opportunity. I really enjoy it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Well, bye, and see everyone else tomorrow. And you're also more than welcome. I can send you the links to come and see our speakers talk tomorrow if you have time and interest.
Of course. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.